that tends to help quite a lot. Sorry, you can probably hear my washing machine going on in the background. Well, the sink actually, because of the washing machine. Um, it shouldn't it shouldn't be that bad for too long. Okay, can someone just let me know if you can see and hear me? Okay. Even if it's just smiley face. Hi, Joanne. Yeah, it's just so I know that you can hear me. That's all. Okay, I need my Tombow. I need some blue tack. Although you've never fessed up, I'm presuming it was you, so thank you very much. Very generous of you. Can I have a lemsip, please?
Lemsip?
Mm.
Ooh.
Thank you. Right. So, today is a fab. Today is a draw along. Not necessarily drawing what I'm drawing, but you can draw along as long as it's in graphite, really, because I'll be here to essentially answer any questions or any queries or just give some advice on how to use graphite and how to use it to create depth and get you your realism. So we'll just wait for a few more people to arrive and then we can crack on. So I've got the little picture up on the corner that I'm going to be doing, and the dog belongs to a lady called Lindsay Philo, and I've requested to actually do this one because I've wanted to do sausage dogs for a really long time, but I've never really, I think I might have done one. Oh, it wasn't you. Oh, bless you. Yeah, I think I've only ever done one. I'm starting to debate whether I actually have or not. I would have thought I'd remember, but I absolutely adore them, and I've chosen to do this one today purely because a lot of people ask me how to do... Hi, was it you, Maggie, that sent me a little parcel from somewhere with a little gold thing in it? Yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I quite often get asked about... Actually, people call this curly hair, and it's not, it's wavy hair. So there's a big difference between curly hair and wavy hair. So when you're looking at doing your portrait, really firstly distinguish what type of fur he or she has, because that's just going to stop you having a headache first of all. I quite often get asked about curly fur, and when I look at it, it's not actually curly, it's wavy, not curly. So it's worth you checking before you get in a bit of a panic, basically. So I'm just going to crack on before I do any share outs. First of all, I need the reference picture. That would be handy, wouldn't it? And I have a weird feeling I haven't sent it to myself, which I haven't, so let me do that now. don't know why it's showing in colour, because it's not. It should be in black and white. It is in black and white, so I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, thank you. Oh, it's lemon. Ugh, to lemon. Right, I'm going to take my phone out of its holder because it's annoying to keep having to get my phone holder as well. Okay, but I think we're set up now. Should have done all this beforehand really, but here you go. You know that's me. So I'm going to start by pretty much glossing him over. First of all with 2Bs. 2B or not 2B? And that's just enable me to work on his dark areas first. I don't know if it's a he or a she actually. So all I'm doing is getting in where my shadow areas are. I'm not worrying about anything else at the moment. Let me turn that off of. I have lost my YouTube window. There we go. Well, initially I thought Maggie. And then, yeah, I don't know. Your suspicious looking face just made me think, oh, maybe it was you. So you notice I haven't started with the ears. I've got out of the habit on a lot of portraits now, starting from the ears, because I just want to get pretty much everything has to be done, so I might as well just do it in an order. So the order is working from the left hand side, being right handed, and then just working my way across. So I'm now just going to fill the entire space with my 2B. Blend that out. Hi, Georgina. I don't know how many of you guys blend on your first layer, but it really is worth doing, because it just makes sure you get a smooth undercoating. Blending in circles as well. Circles or ovals actually, if I want to be really precise. I can use that and come out a little bit. And back in with the 2B. The 2B helps me to lightly input where shadows and fur direction is without having to, or start again, without going too dark straight away. As we know, it's easier to add than it is to remove, so I'd rather build it up slowly than go straight in and then regret it because I'm not able to reduce any dark detail I might have put in that shouldn't be there. Do you feel confident with graphite or colour pencil? People graphite, animals, I don't really have a more one than the other. I have a preference, but not so much of a confidence. I mean, graphite's what got me started, and I'm glad I started with graphite actually, because it taught me all the fundamentals about getting your lights and darks in and things like that. And when you take that forward into your coloured pencil drawings, you can see the importance of getting your values right. And I think doing graphite helps, which is why I tend to teach graphite when we do classes as the first part, because once you get that right, it tends to be, it sort of follows on. So I'm going in with 4B now. I'm just trying to build it up slowly because I will end up with graphite shine on here purely just because the amount that I end up blending and the pressure that I put on my pencil. But the longer I can hold that graphite burn off for, the better. Burnish off for. Talk English. So I mean, you'll get a good feel as well by doing this. I mean, even if you're not drawing along today, you'll get a good feeling of how, roughly how long things should be taking you. When we're doing this A5, so he's probably a good 6 by 6 inches on the paper. And the other mistake people can make sometimes is they actually zoom in too far into their reference photo, and that was something I used to do quite often when I started out. And the reason why that's a bad thing is because you're trying to get every tiny little bit of detail in that you can only see when you're zoomed right in. Nobody's going to be looking at a portrait like this. They're going to be looking at it like this. So that's, just bear that in mind. So his or her ears are actually really soft, and to be fair, the photo, it probably looks okay on screen, but actually it's not a very clear photo. So I'm gonna have to make some of the detail up. The basics are there, but there's a lot of detail in there that you can't actually see. So is anybody drawing along with me today, or are we just watching? Oh, it feels weird using, but I've been painting all day. So it feels weird going back to pencil. Right, I'm going to put a few lines in to indicate a bit more of the fur, and then I'm going to blend that out. Let's get a bit more of the darker patches in. And then, thank you, Erica. I think Erica's just prompted in the group for me, and I need to actually send some shares out, so let's do it. Oh, stop it, get off. Apparently I wanted to post a GIF. I didn't want to post a GIF. I bet it's really hot. Don't burn your mouth. Oh God. Lemon sip. Ugh. Oh God. Whoever thought of lemon for lemsip? I don't mind it in water. Ugh. Okay, getting there slowly. The last one, and then we're back to it. And save. And done. Okay. Hi, Robin. Sorry, that was right next to the microphone. I've got a bit of a cold coming, so let me... How have you not seen Finding Nemo? Oh, we just had some in the cupboard, so... Plus honey and lemon doesn't come with paracetamol. My head needs paracetamol right now. Yeah, as a rule, graphite is quicker to render up, but it depends on what you're doing. You've seen the... I've shown you the fisherman portrait, haven't I? That's actually on my Patreon, and that took a considerable amount of time. So it really does depend on how many layers you're getting down. But yeah, as a rule, graphite can be quicker to render up. I suppose because you're not having to layer between your colours to get the colour you want, you're just getting down grey. You're able to get there a bit faster. But since working in colour pencil, I find that I work much slower in graphite now because I tend to layer a lot more. I quite honestly can't remember the last time I ever bought branded paracetamol. I've got a Booker's account, so I get it down there sometimes. And when John put his back out, his mother inundated us with painkillers, so we haven't had to buy any in over a year. So yeah. I'm going to start applying a little bit of pressure now just to get a bit more dark in there. And I tend not to go around and darken too much until much later on in the portrait, so I can see exactly where I am, what I'm doing. And I like to have things done next to it so I know if I've gone dark enough or if in fact I have gone too dark. So I know on the top half of this ear I'm nowhere near dark enough, because in the picture it just looks like a big fluffy ear. There's not really much in the way of direction. I'm just crossing over in the other direction of what we did the last lot, so it helps give me a smoother blend then. Once you've done a few, you do get used to it. It is still tricky, and it does get tricky because everybody's different, but there are sort of general rules that you can follow. But yeah, I mean, I'm much more comfortable doing people in graphite, but I do enjoy the challenge of doing them in colour pencil. But yeah, if I had to choose, I'd choose graphite for people. I don't know, I mean I love black and white photography, so I think a lot of it's all sort of part of that, really. I find black and white quite atmospheric. So we've got a nice transition happening between the dark and the light. Nice smooth blending going on. And again, that's one of the common mistakes that we get with beginners, is that the blending isn't quite smooth. So I can still afford to go darker. I'm just going to do it in the direction now of the fur. Even though there isn't much visibility on the actual photo itself, I'm going to start adding more detail in, because I'd like it to have more detail rather than it being quite so flat. Finish this back bit off now. For wispy type hairs, don't be afraid to start looking at your H's, or even a B. I'm quite tempted to go, I'm going to try the B, but I think that might be too strong. I think when my 2H has gone. Two 4H's, but I think that's going to be too light. Oh no, I might get away with that. So your H's are really, really good for adding wispy bits sticking out, adding, well, actually filling in. I know somebody who will do an entire portrait in 2B, remove everything he needs to remove, then when he's coming up to finishing, he'll literally just sit there with a 2H and colour over the whole thing. And because of the hardness of the graphite lead, it tends to sit in the tooth much better. I think I've explained this before, but it does work. And it means that you don't end up then adding loads of tone, you're just filling in space. People can be tricky. I think because you've got to get things right. You get things wrong, it really can make them look very off, can't it? So, you know, even if you get a little bit of the eye wrong, it can make it look, make the whole look, oh, I can't talk now. Whole lot look off. Okay, I'm going to grab my Tombow in a minute. We're just going to start grabbing a few highlight areas out. I think someone's after me. There's a helicopter circling outside. See, that on my computer's working 10 times harder, making a very funny noise. Okay, we don't need to take a lot out. We've just got, I've managed to leave most of the highlights in there without having to come in with the eraser. I don't even think I need to add any. Again, because the photo reference, although it looks fairly clear, is such a small reference that I'm not getting huge amounts of detail. If you try and zoom in, you're not going to see anything. So for now, we need a little bit of direction on this one. That sort of goes up like that a little bit more. It's not quite as perfectly straight down here. So once you've taken your highlight out, you can just blend over it so the highlight's not quite so stark white. Right, now I need to go darker on that, but for the minute I'm just going to move on now to, let's just move on to the top of the head and get that shaded in. The thing with graphite is if you fill in your shadows, you can pull out from your shadows, so you're not having to work so hard to do your mid-tones, and I think that's probably actually what speeds the process up. Once you've filled your shadow areas in, you can then just blend out into your midtones and then create your highlights quite naturally without having to do any of it later on. Yeah, it is worth watching, Georgina. It's actually my most popular video at the moment. Not many people do them in polychromo, so yeah, it's worth watching. It's not very long, and it covers 6 skin tone types, including pale, olive, tanned, medium, black. There's another one, but I can't remember. So yeah, there's 6 altogether. Is anyone guilty when they do their midtones of just putting one layer down, blending, and that be it? Stubby needs cleaning. So how many people have just done that and left it? I'm currently using a 2B and a 4B. So 2B are all my base tones, 2B are my shadows and my mid-tones. So let's do this eye. There's just no detail whatsoever in this eye. So let's, sorry, it affects the lighting when I zoom you in. Let's see if I can, don't know if that's going to make it worse or not. Are you even in focus right now? Okay, let's move the phone. Zoom into that eye, not that I can see a thing. Cannot, it's only because I've done so many dogs that I have an idea of where things should go. Did you literally just go and find it? Oh, yes. See, you know better than I do. What do we think of the new thumbnails, guys? Give us a thumbs up if you like the new thumbnails. I'm trying to brighten the channel up a bit. I need a bit of Bonnita Doodles in there, and I lost that a little bit, I think. So, giving you a bit of a fresh up. Right, I am at this stage just with the 2B because it's light. Just going to start putting in, again, there is no detail on here whatsoever. So I'm just going to put in some pencil strokes to indicate the direction of the fur. Again, once you do more and more dogs, you get used to the way that the fur lies on their faces. Oh God, that's yuck. The thumbnail is the image you see on my channel before the video plays. So before I try to keep it a little bit consistent and quite similar, but I'm having a bit of a change up. Well, I'm working in ovals now, and I'm just, although they're ovals, I'm still sort of following the direction that the fur would lay. Thing with graphite as well is there's lots more ugly stages to graphite than I think there is colour pencil. I'll stop leaning on my hand like that. Does my wrist in? Let's blue tack it. I'm quite pleased with how his eyes come out. There, I will feel less need to push down on him. I always wonder why my wrist aches when I do a drawing session, and then remember that I've been pushing really hard on the bit of paper to stop it moving round. I found I did that a lot less when I had my drawing board, but now I've gone back to working flat. I find I've got into that habit again. Oh, I've scanned up and cleaned all the Christmas critters, and I have scanned up and cleaned the contemporary designs, and they've scanned up really, really well. So I can now soften up that light patch, and it still be lighter than the other areas. You've not done any graphite, Joe? You did the old man tutorial, didn't you? thought you did. Have a go. I think there's... Oh, I can't remember now. There must be 3 or 4 graphite tutorials on there now. I am a little bit, you know, and it's not even Halloween. And I think because I booked that thing in yesterday for the kids, I think that's probably helped. It's very much all about them when it comes to this, but do you want to have a sneak peek? Well, it's not a sneak peek, it's on a live and everybody will watch it who watches it, so I take that back. Do you want to have a look? See, when I've done the majority of this and I decide, okay, I want to go darker, but I'm not getting much more darker with the 4B, that's when I'll look at maybe considering bringing in potentially a 6B or even a black pencil. Hi, Vicky. Well, there's no rush, my lovely. It's always there. There is a bit missing out of it though. I had a technical hiccup because we all know me in technology. Technical hiccup with it. So the very last part of it I don't think is there. So, but it's pretty much rinse and repeat once you've done most of it anyway. So. So we want to get some fur direction going that way. We need some going down that way, sort of goes over his, by the looks of it, that's his jawline there, so. Some shape here somehow. Okay, let's see. Okay, so they are they're the contemporary designs finished and scanned. So scanned really nicely and really cleanly. So I'm really happy with them. And then look at them all sitting in a row, don't they look cool? Let me change there we go, and there they are. So they've all scanned again. Look at that seal. I love him. So they've scanned really, really well. So I'm really pleased. So they should all look really nice as a collective. So really happy with them. Now some magical elf has sent me the gilding pen. I've got silver coming as well from when I ordered mine. So we're going to have a really nice hand finished look to all of these when they're done. There's some marking on his face and I can't tell whether that's, you know, like when they get that tear. As I say, because there's not a huge amount of detail, it's quite difficult to make certain things out. So that's where that patch finishes. So all this under here is really nice and dark. So what we don't want under here is any detail of fur. We just want it to be very much a blocked shadow. And I've said it in many videos previously that people are too scared to leave areas without fur detail, and to get a much more natural look you need to do that. Because there are areas where you're not going to see any detail. Okay, we need to go darker all the way down here. And even the light patch can be blended out because that can be darker as well. So would you do graphite or colour pencil backgrounds for the future? What do you mean by that? Oh, hang on, I didn't turn that down, sorry. In fact, I think we could 2B over the whole of that. That's better. It would look better once we're zoomed out because we are zoomed in quite far, and again you wouldn't actually see it this far, this close, sorry, unless you're literally going to have it in front of your face. Sorry, just bear with me one momente. No, that's not the one. There we go. Just posting it in one other group. Mercury allows it, so we'll do it in there as well, and we'll leave it like that. Only because I forgot there was another drawing one that actually does quite a lot of graphite. So if I zoom you out, so that's roughly where you're probably going to view your portrait from. So we know that we can soften this line down here. Now we've started going darker in these areas, we can bring the tone of that right down. In fact, probably bring it down further than that. I think you're getting a bit of graphite shine on here as well, which isn't helping. It could do with being thinner as well. It really helps to take pictures or look down a camera or your phone while you're doing these, because it tends to pick up as you would look at it as a portrait, whereas I say we tend to be right up in our faces when we draw them. So we can still bring that down. I'm wondering if you've got, yeah, look, you've got some graphite shine happening, so that's what it should look like. So what's happening is just above me on the left, I've got a LED light. So if I put my hand there, you can see the difference between when I take it away and when I just take that glare off. So just by doing that, I can see that I really need to darken in here a bit more as well. Yeah, it's funny that. So bear that in mind when you take pictures of your portraits as well before you send them to your client. Please don't ever send them pictures that you've taken in the middle of the night with no decent lighting. You want to get the most out of your drawings. I will be doing a video at some point very soon, I hope, to show you how I take my pictures of my portraits and my flat lays, so you get an idea and maybe have a go, because it is important that you show your clients the best version of that picture that you can get to them, because photos never do these pictures justice. I've managed to make his ear actually a lot fluffier than what it is, which I quite like. Hi Leslie. Oh, okay. Yes, I can work on something. Yeah, definitely, Leslie. And we were saying earlier that because we tend to, you know, when we're working on a portrait, we're working from, you know, a foot to less than a foot away. And David's absolutely right when he was challenging me to do these paintings, that you don't look at portraits that closely. You need to look at them from a distance. So you either need to step back or you need to point your camera at it. And another reason why pointing your camera at it is because a lot of them are pretty intelligent cameras, and they will automatically slightly alter it for you, so you can see where you need to go darker and where you need to go lighter, and it really does help. And taking off that glare, just by doing that, you can see the difference between where the issues are that I'm having with the light glare. So yeah, photos really do help, but taking them in poor lighting doesn't do you any favors. Just get either a daylight bulb or a white LED. Don't get a yellow LED. It changes your white balance horrendously. So, and also have a play. Download an app and have a play in the settings, and don't just instantly take your photo and leave it like that. Have a play with it, because if you up your contrast and things like that and you think, wow, that really does make a difference, then you can take it back to your drawing board and add more contrast. Right, I'm going to add, it's not in the reference, but I want to add just a little bit of, just here and there. Not much. And you can sort of see where the ear divides. There's two bits of fluff roaming, I suppose, is the word I'm looking for. If I can break it up a little bit. Just doing this with the 2B at the moment. That's a bit better, I'm quite happy with that. So I'm now going to go over my 4B area in that shadow and go over the 2B again, because again it's much harder lead, so I can get right into those teeth of the paper. I don't even know if Wendy knows I'm on. She's probably had enough, bless her. How many times does she need to go live this week? Can you see though the transition between all the different stages is really smooth? There's not this, I need to show you because I see it quite a lot. I see where, I don't know, let's say people have done a very light layer. God. Okay, that's why I'm having more trouble than normal. This isn't my Strathmore. I think this is just a Daler Rowney. And then when they come to do their shadow on top, it's left like this. Why is my camera shaking? Why are you shaking? Bit worrying when my camera's shaking and I'm not actually touching it. It's either that or my eyes are going dwelly. So yeah, I quite often see them. They start like this, and that's never how they should be, ever. Even if you just softened the edges slightly, it gives it a much more natural transition between your shadows and your midtones or your highlights, depending on what you're doing. But so often people either don't blend enough, or they just don't get that transition smooth enough, which again is normally down to blending between the shadows, the lights, the darks, etc. I prefer smooth, but I haven't done myself any favours. This is Daler Rowney Bristol board, and I only got this because I knew that I wasn't going to be doing the portrait as a commission or anything. So this is what I used to draw on, but actually I much prefer, well, you saw the difference of how it went on. I much prefer the Strathmore 300 series. I prefer to work on smooth personally, but I know that other people prefer a bit more tooth. I don't really like the paper showing through. I find the vellum has more tooth though, but I find it really hard to blend. And you'll see, I don't know whether it's going to pick this up. So this is the vellum, and it has a lot more tooth. How much more blend, look, that's how much more blending I had to do. Can you see all that shine, that graphite shine? So again, it's not until you, look at it, he looks on a light, doesn't he? It's not until you get it in the right position that you can sort of really get the whole portrait essentially. So again, I would have to get that light out of the way for you to get a really true version of what it looks like. But yeah, I find toothy paper for me just annoying. I much prefer a smoother paper. You may not necessarily get as many layers on there. I'd love a coffee. I've just had a lemsip, but I've run out of sweeteners, so I can't have any coffee. Okay, I've lost my reference now. Right. So we're working on the top of his head. And even on the white part of the fur, there's still a bit of shadowing going on. One of the biggest issues people have is they find that their lights aren't light enough. And those of you that have followed me for a while and are a Patreon, what's the reason why you can't get your whites white enough? Hi John, long time no see. Hope you're well. It is expensive, you're right. If you've not ever tried the Strathmore Bristol Smooth, it's the 300 series, it's worth a go. It has enough tooth on there that you can get really good layers, but it's also enough that you can get a real good blend on it. Yeah, I really have found it my happy medium paper because it just works so well with colour pencils and graphite. As I say, it's purely because I was being a cheapskate and I wanted to do this on the paper I had the most of. And I had some pads left over from when I teach. So decided to just use a bit of that really. Oh, okay, the vellum or the smooth? Is it a Bristol? You said smooth, didn't you? Sorry. You did say smooth. I've tried a few and my preference really is, but it is down to personal preference because each to their own really, isn't it? Okay, so I think we can probably get away with blending top of the head out now. I'd say because I've done so much painting today, this is getting me back in the zone to do. I've got a load of Christmas commissions, some minis to crack on with, so I thought if I do this tonight, it gets me back in the zone. So we can pretty much, I think that's come out too far, so I'm going to use blue tack rather than my Tombow. Because it just takes a light enough portion off that I don't have to. Personally, I find vellum too toothy. But again, it's personal preference. I just find vellum too crunchy, and I find it harder to get rid of the tooth of the paper. Right, I'm going to bring that down. I don't know what's going on with I don't know whether it's on the photo or whether he has got, it almost looks like a scar line, but I'll leave it out for the minute. I do trace down for commissions for speed purposes, really, and to make sure that we get accuracy. I keep saying we. Make sure I get accuracy when doing the commission, especially when the reference pictures are not very good like this one. So I tend to just get the basics down, make sure everything's where it should be. I do have a light box, but I actually find I don't do a good enough job. Or I go the other direction. I end up putting too much information down and then I end up confusing myself. Okay, so we've got to get this bit blended out because it's very stiff in there at the moment. Let's get some first strokes going. When you do first strokes, remember it's not all in one direction. When you do first strokes, it's not this. This isn't first strokes. That's not how it works. When you do first strokes, you're doing things like this. All different directions. As long as you are going, say the fur is going in this direction, we'll do one in that direction. As long as your crossovers are going in that direction, you'll continue to have first strokes. But it's when it's going in that direction and you're going down, that's when it looks silly. The only time I would do this sort of thing is when you're looking around the nose area, but even then I would change it slightly change direction just to give it a bit of interest. I might treat myself to the 4x4 Strathmore vellum when I get paid. I've just begun to get back into it. Something always happens. I imagine that's probably quite painful. I'm starting to get arthritis in my thumb and my finger. This finger of all fingers, where I tend to push with that or I lean in that direction, it makes my knuckles go, and my thumb permanently needs cracking nowadays. So yeah, whoever said drawing was an easy job, tell my thumb that. Got not much of one, but you can just see a little extra. They have that bit in their skull that sits down here as it goes over the eye sockets. it just tends to be a little bit darker in there, and his is only very slight, but I'm going to add in anyway. So did anyone answer my question about if you're finding it difficult to go lighter, what the problem is? I bet you didn't know there was going to be a test today, did you? Oh, sounds a bit unpleasant. I have used graphite powder, but personally, I don't get on with it. I find it too messy. I personally would prefer, I think you need graphite powder on textured paper. It doesn't work very well on smooth paper, or I haven't found it has. You could try, if you are an absolute beginner, you could try water activated graphite. So it's a quarrel graphite, and you get medium, light and dark, and you apply it like a pencil, and then you can just wash it out with water. That might be a good way to do it, but I've never got on with the powder. I've always just found it too messy. I can't control it. It's great when you're doing really large soft portraits, and if you're doing, like my version would be with this tortillon stubby, I call it a stubby. Yeah, you could rub it in with that. I have found actually a good thing to use for powder is makeup brushes, and I bet I haven't got one to show you. My graphite powder is over there because I made my own. But if you use makeup brushes and colour blenders, these colour blenders here which have like silicone ends, I have used powder with these before, and the makeup brushes, and the makeup brushes work really well. I have got one with me actually here. It's this one. I don't know whether you're going to find one easily. I just had it in my makeup bag, never used it, but it's like a weird rubber. I might even have some graphite still on it. I do a little bit. But it can blend. You have to be careful because after a while it leaves streaks, but you can blend really well the powder with these types of brushes. So it might be worth, if you haven't got any, grab some of these and that will help you with your powder. They do fall apart quite easily though, so bear that in mind. Go darker. Well done, Leslie. But you know anyway. Contrast, absolutely. So yeah, loads of people say to me, I can't seem to go light enough. We can't go any lighter than the white of your paper. So if you haven't got enough punch there to be able to see your highlight, so in here you can see it's nowhere near it is in the reference picture, and that's because I haven't gone dark enough around it yet. So if you're worried about the fact that you can't see it and there's not enough contrast, then that's what you've got to do. You've got to add some darkness behind that light. Yeah, you can get them in clay sculpting tools. They are called colour blenders as well, so you can get them in the painting shops and things like that. But yeah, you can pick them up really cheap online. So for those that are popping on now, I am only currently using 2 pencils, which is the 2B and the 4B. So we've got plenty of contrast at the front here, so we're just getting some more contrast at the back and deepening those tones at the back. Pleasure. Yeah, I did, when I did Tom Hardy's dog's portrait, the 3 dogs that I did that with water-soluble graphite. It worked really well because it gave me that nice medium transition. So you had the watercolour effect, which I love, and then you had the real sort of detailed graphite on top. Okay, so we need to start building the depth up in here. He's got quite a strong, although it's not a line, he has got quite a strong line between his highlight here and his shadow. Definitely give it a whirl. I don't know whether you can hear me, Leslie, but you just need to reboot, as we know that YouTube has a beautiful habit right now of buffering on all the lives. So what do you normally draw? Let's bring the 4B in for darkening this bit. I don't actually know, I did all them portraits all that time ago just using the Taylor Rowney Bristol. That's quite a feat actually. Quite looking forward to doing his nose. I kept losing chat yesterday. So we've lost a bit of sharpness in that shadow, but I'm not too fast, as I say, because there isn't a huge amount of detail, so I don't want it to be this real strong transition between that highlight and the shadow, so I may even soften it up a bit. Not have it quite so light. This is where you get to have a bit of artistic license really, and if you don't like quite how strong a shadow is somewhere, then you can just reduce that down. Oh right, sounds intriguing. I like drawing cats. Okay, so we may as well, maybe brush now, may as well just coat that ear. Or shall I do the nose? Let's do the nose. Okay, so this is the back of the nose here. Oh, hang on a minute. What have I done? That's not, that's the back of the nose there. There's a dark patch though, just there, and that could do with darkening up a bit. But I'll do more of the muzzle area once I get that nose done. I like doing doggy noses. I don't know why. I find them, I think when you get it right, it's quite a satisfying thing to do. Okay, I always put in, it's just how I work, the absolute darkest on the nose area. Some people do it differently, but this is how I find I tackle it. Zoom in. I can't even zoom in that far. The picture's really not that great. So we've got really large circle area here. That one comes up much more. So for me, I work on all the darkest areas. Get those in. And then I'll lightly buffer over. I won't be too worried about adding or keeping some of the highlights in, because I'll just go over with my Tombow as long as I don't go too heavy. And again, once you've done so many dogs' noses, or even cats' noses, it becomes second nature. Okay, so I'll blend that out. Only if the nose is really bumpy will I look at then going in with the indenting tool and start playing about with things like that. But his nose, again, because the photo is actually really smooth, so that is how I'm going to keep it. So I'm just going to get a basic blend over the majority of it. Again, if I took some of that light out, we can see that we can now go in much darker. I can actually afford to bring that up slightly too. So there needs to be much more of a line across the top of his nose. I mean, I know I haven't gone dark enough yet on this front section. So if you imagine like the side of a wall when you do a nose, it's very much this sort of, so that's where the light will be hitting, that's where the shadow hits. You always have, if the light is pointing in that direction, you always have your shadow area at the front of the nose. So like on a human, even on our noses, you always have this sort of portion that's generally in shadow. So that's where you would have that. So just making sure you get that down really helps. So you've got that clear light and then dark happening there. So, and again, that's what makes that so much 3D. While I'm at it, I know that I can now come in, darken this area. And there's a much darker line across this way. It almost forms like a triangle pattern across the top. I don't know how well you can see any of the detail in the reference. I know a lot of you watch this on your phone, so you may not see the reference very well, but I've just skipped over here because it's driving me crazy how it's such a sharp transition in that shadow. I just want it a bit smoother. There we go. It's amazing how much difference it makes when he has a nose, isn't it? Go for it. There's probably tons of reference photos out there. It's only because I was lucky enough to use this lady's picture for practice. And say, because I've never done a sausage dog before, and I've always wanted to. I really want to get one, but with the two cats, I can't. Especially our Safi, she won't have any of it. I'm sure she'd get used to it after a while, but it's not fair on the dog. Hi Emily. It's not a commission. It's purely because I wanted to draw a sausage dog, Dachshund. And this lady kindly offered me a picture of her dog. And I know that I could have gone and got a reference picture and anything, but I thought, why not just use this lady's picture? I'm quite tempted at this stage. There's not many, but there's a couple of really stark white hairlines. So I'm just going to put in a couple. What have we got? We got one there. Just a couple here and there going up to the nose. That's probably about it actually. Our cat, my sister-in-law brought her dog round, and it's a Chihuahua, and it's the tiniest Chihuahua. It's not even a teacup Chihuahua, but it's tiny. And our cat is a rescue cat, so I don't know if they ever had much in the way of contact with dogs. And yeah, this dog comes bounding in because she's got so much energy and she's always really excited to see people. So she comes bounding in the sitting room, just running everywhere. And this cat is like, what are you doing? Who are you? Why are you in my sitting room? And just swiped her across the head. So ended up putting a claw in the top of her head. So I was like, oh my God, don't need that. Tinky was okay. But yeah, I'm not sure what Safi is like with dogs, so I wouldn't even want to try. Hey up. You miss me drawing a doggy and asking? I wasn't asking questions. Well, I was, but I was answering most of them. I don't know if you can see that. There's a whole video on this if you need to see it, but you can see the indenting marks here. So it looks very yucky at the moment, and they always do until you start blending in and working up. And what you'd do is you would, as a rule, I'm not saying it's with all dogs, but as a rule, you have quite a smooth transition from the bottom of the nose into the fur area. So you don't generally have this stop-start that you have here, even if it's just a few little hairs that come out like that. There's always a transition. I want to draw my own Westie. Go for it. I have drawn Westies, but not many. I'm trying to think what the most common breed of dog is that I've drawn. I've drawn the same Shar-Peis 3 times. Which I don't mind because they're really cute faces. Oh, I knew I'd do that. Oh, I always do it with these pencils. Well, I have a real big gripe with Faber-Castell. Oh, now I get an error message. I don't know. Is there a... It's very stop-start, the live feed. Oh, it's really annoying. I don't know what's going on. Stream settings. It's on normal latency. I can't turn it to low unless I stop the live feed. So I don't know what's going on. There shouldn't be any reason for it. My end, we've got full Wi-Fi. More info. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Well, that's ridiculous. Settings. I don't think I can alter my stream settings. No, I can't. Replay buffer. No. No, I can't alter anything. It's very annoying. Apologies. It's gone now. Okay, if you can hear me, one of my most annoying things about Faber-Castell, and I'm quite tempted to start going to Caran d'Ache, is, can you see the colour of my finger? It's green. And where I was tilting my pencil, the green of the coating has basically gone onto my paper. And Faber-Castell don't think that's a problem, but I have this issue with all of their pencils. All of them, they all do it. And I have one where I've actually succumbed and I've had to put tape around the bottom of it just to stop it going onto my fingers. It's really annoying. But they tell me there's nothing wrong with them. And I have to send pencils in for testing. Well, I'm not sending all my pencils in for testing. So, tough. I have emailed them. And they've said, well, you have to send it in. And then we can test it. And yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, well, I use them. So, no. But it's really annoying because you can't lift it up. And I always try and tilt it that this doesn't touch the paper, but obviously I wasn't paying enough attention, so serves me right. Just going to grab that shadow in there. There's one in there. And let's just... Oh, that's quite dark, but the bottom of his jaw is in there. I mean, it comes off on my stubby, look. Where I go from my pencil to my stubby, it comes off on there too. On your last comment. Oh. I don't think I've drawn many Westies at all, actually. Right, let's just get all this blended out. Trouble is as well, is because people have to refresh, it completely alters my watch time. I'm going to have to find out from YouTube what's going on because it's ridiculous. There is an update to OBS, so I don't know whether that's going to play any part, but I can't do that till tomorrow, so... Once you've done your indenting, if you find that the white is too stark but you still need there to be some sort of colour to it, you can just simply go in very lightly with your pencil and fill in the space. And it sometimes just takes that starkness away. What, with your polys? Or your graphite? I'm glad it's not just me. I mean, I have very acidic skin apparently, which is why I have to wear nothing but pure either gold or silver jewellery. Otherwise it just turns me green instantly. But I don't understand why. I can't even see whiskers on him actually. I'm just going to build up the layers under here before I go over with the 4B. Just going in opposite directions each time helps just fill the tooth and to keep the layering quite smooth. Good, I'm glad it's not just me. Stupid YouTube. Trouble is, it's happening on so many lives now. I might have to just contact them and find out what's going on. Didn't need to do that, so I don't know why I did that. Very light. It's really weird, these hair things down there. It's actually quite, you can't see it, but it's actually not far off at all. Just need to get it darkened up. I don't know where some of it's where I've got nails that they dig in, but even then it shouldn't do it. I'd like to get to grips more with the Caran d'Ache, but I haven't particularly got on that well with them so far. I do have a limited range in them, so I might have to start getting used to using them. Because I like the fact that they're the coating's actually color coded as well. Talking is fine in the bottom left, but spinning circle on the main, but still see you drawing. Okay, well, it could be my camera then. I need to have a play. It may be that the FPS is set wrong, so I'll have to... How do you know what pencil to use, i.e. HB2B? Pretty much by practice. Again, swatch your pencils. We know that your H means hard, your B means black. So the further up the further up the B's you get, the darker your colour. The further down the H's you get, the softer your colour. So, and I only really work in two colours anyway, the 2B and the 4B, because I prefer to. Some people work through an entire spectrum, but yeah, it really is just down to practice. Follow a few tutorials if you're really new to it. If you do some specific type of tutorials. I'm just putting some very rough bits under his chin because that black still needs bringing down and out. A little bit of a patch here. I'll zoom you out in a minute so we can have a full look, see how we're doing. Oh, that lemsip seemed to do the trick. Right, I think we can afford to go a little bit darker on the edge here. Blend that all out. Get a bit of a blend. I know we've got to go a bit darker still under that chin. Drawn, I've tested with colour pencil, not graphite. I just don't like the tooth. I've done pastel drawings on pastel mat. I know a lot of people seem to be going crazy for it, but I have heard it eats, well, it will do because there's a lot of tooth on there, but I have heard it eats your pencils up quite quickly. Right, just going to blend those indent areas a bit more. So the bottom of his mouth isn't going to make much sense until we start getting the fur underneath, but I think we could definitely, oh ouch, go darker. I don't think it is Bonnita. Mine just buffers, but I can comment. Oh. Well, I shall have to have a word with YouTube. Most definitely. Because not only does it spoil your experience, it spoils my stats. Yeah, I've had 104 playbacks. That is essentially where you guys have had to refresh, and that shouldn't happen. There we go. That's much better. Right, we're going to go up to the 2 hour mark. So we've got 13 minutes to, let's get the other side of his ear done just for the sake of having a full head. All I can see is the green off my pencil. Really annoying. Bless you. Right, somewhere in here is a curl. Not a curl, a wave. I just want to get... Work it out, work it out, work it out. Come on. That's that bit. Okay, that's that bit. And then we've got quite a chunk of shadow here. So you're basically, by the looks of it, on average getting 5 minutes watch out of it before it starts buffering. Try changing your, rather than watching it in 1080p or HD, try changing it to 740 or something, 720 or something. See if that helps. If it does, I might have to put that on the information next time because it's really affecting everything. The whole point of tonight was to get you guys in, drawing along with me. And yeah, we've not been able to do much of that. Yeah, I can tell because my average watch time has gone from nearly 10 minutes to 6 minutes 38, which means that roughly every 5 minutes you guys are having to refresh, which means that my watch time percentage rate dramatically drops, meaning YouTube thinks that you don't like my video because you're only watching for 5 minutes in a 2-hour video, which is really, really, excuse my language, crap. Because it affects all of my stats. And if it keeps doing this on all of my lives. Last night, none of you had buffering issues and my average watch time was 21 minutes. So it's really messing it about. Mine's on auto playing at 720. Okay. Well, I'll have to do some research tonight and work out what's going on. Hi, Pam. If you haven't already, I know you probably have, but if you could, yeah, pop a thumbs up for me on this video, that would help greatly. Also, adding to your question earlier, Leslie, part of the reason I'm doing this was, one, to get back to our proper tutorials, and two is I do have some mini offer commissions that I've got to get doing. Of course, they're all graphite, so I've been painting all day, so I thought this would get me back into the swing of things. If anybody can watch for more than 5 minutes. basis of the ear down. Too busy watching to draw laugh out loud beside my reference pic is on my tablet. Oops. I changed it up to 1080p to see if any... Oh, good idea. Yeah. Turning it down might not be a... Turning it up may. Oh, be interesting. Well, I stream in 1080, so... I can't see how that would make a difference, but... They're messing up my stats so badly. It's really annoying. And you guys don't get to see it all nice and smooth. I also said in the beginning, some of you might have missed it, but a lot of people, when they ask me, how do you draw curly fur? And they show me a picture of a dog's ear like this. That's not curly. It's wavy. And there's a big difference. Oh dear. Shall I stop doing lives? Shall I slow down? Am I distracting you guys? I don't have to do so many lives. I can do one every 2 weeks. I can hear you all screaming down the phone at me. I've sort of had to get today done really because, yeah, if I didn't, well, I've got a deadline. So I had another 10 allocations from Spectrum, and they have to be done, and they have to be there, and they have to be at head office. So I had to get them done today. He's got a couple of bits that just come out and around. So I literally spent the entire day doing the last of the paintings. And managed to get them all done, which is good. Managed to scan in the Christmas card designs. That was great. And yeah, so cracking on with these so I can get back in the zone. I know, how dare he? Or she. Yeah, I thought I could hear you all screaming at me. No. I shall see if I can do a live from Stonham when I'm there, so you guys can see what's going on. Be quite fun. I might just do that in the group though. I'll probably take a video of Stonham while we're up there. Do a bit like a vlog. Might be quite fun to do a vlog. I need to do my office tour as well for you guys. I thought I'd do a before and after, just so you can see the chaos that it is, and then I'll tidy it up and then do an after. Right, just try to get that shape in his ear right. And we've got, if I look at it on my screen, it's more like that shape. And much darker. Oh dear. Yeah. Yeah, we're all booked in. I've got caravan up there. Basically, my uncle owns Ston & Barnes, and every weekend they have an event on of some sort, and it's like a showground. Like we have Kent Showground and we have the Wilder Kent shows and things like that here, and it's very similar. So yeah, we're going up. I've never done the craft fair there before, so it's all new. And I've got an 8-foot by 6-foot space. How cool is that? I don't even think it's 8-foot. I think it might be 9-foot. It's big. It's big. So yeah, the girls can go. So basically what they've got there is like a shopping village. Then they have a crazy golf course. It's a really good crazy golf course. They have a eagle sanctuary, a bird of prey sanctuary, which is really lovely. They have a soft play centre, and the lady who runs it actually used to work with sensory kids, so she was really good with Amelie last time we were there. Really lovely restaurant. They've got a gallery up there, and when I was last there, he said that I could bring up some stuff next time I'm up and hopefully leave it with him to sell it on a commission basis. So fingers crossed. Definitely bigger the better. Because I want to take my Sawford series paintings up, yeah, they're going to be on easels, so yeah, the more room the better basically. They do get a lot of footfall, so I'm hoping that we have a good day, or good weekend I should say, as it's over 2 days. What else have they got there? They've got an aquatic centre. They've got the golf course, they've got loads of shops. Oh, they've got like a paint your own pottery barn type thing. Oh, I'll be able to go and collect what we did last time. We never got hold of that actually. Yeah, so I think when they get bored, I know the girls will want to come in and out of the tent because Madison likes to help at craft fairs, and when I did my shockingly bad exhibition at the Trinity Theatre, my kid was literally going out into the foyer going, come in and have a look at my mummy's wonderful work. You need to come and see it, buy something. So I think she'll be a good one to have on my stall. Okay, so we need to bring the depth around here and really get that darker in there. Fingers crossed. Erica didn't change settings and no buffering. Okay. Maybe YouTube's just sorted itself out. Watch time's gone up, so it seems to be behaving a bit better. As much as this annoys me, this bit here, it's there on the hair. There on the hair. And I can't get rid of it because that's what it is. But I think if I just soften it up a bit. Don't. Yeah, it's definitely YouTube then. But I want to show you, if you can see, how you can use black pencil over the top. I don't do it very often, but I do it every now and then, because it can help. So let me lean. There we go. I'm going to lean like that because it alters the amount of light that we're getting. So I'm going to do some black wax pencil just in the darkest areas, and I want you to see what difference it makes. You can achieve this without using black pencil. You can just go straight up to your 6B, 7B, 8B, 9B, whatever you want to do, but I quite like the black pencil. And all I'll do is I'll just add it into, like in the nostril area here, I'll add it into the darkest areas that it needs to be. So if you find you're really struggling, just grab your black. Yeah, I've just had another warning notification, so I think we're just going to have to call it in a minute because it's driving me potty and you guys are missing out. So let me grab a screenshot of that. Oh, and it's gone just as I was going to get a screenshot. Basically saying that it's not getting enough video from the feed, so it may be I need to change my frame rate. So I think it's to do the fact that you can still see me talking in this one but not in the other one may mean that the frames per second on my DSLR is too fast for YouTube. So I'll need to check that and maybe reduce it down to 30 or something. But OBS is due an update, so I don't know whether that's a problem too, or I'll have to check it all out tomorrow. Oh, I can't sit there. All I can see is graphite shine. The painful bit. Oh, okay. I don't know then. Okay, why don't we just leave it here? Because there's literally like 2 people sat there watching. I've had 118 playbacks, and my watch time has gone again from nearly 8 minutes down to 6 minutes 55. Which means whatever YouTube is doing is, one, is annoying you guys because you can't watch what you want to watch. And 2, it's just mucking me up as well. So it's probably best that we call it for tonight. We're probably up to my 2 hours. We are. I'll check the frame rate tomorrow and see what's happening. And hopefully I can fix it. So if you're watching this at a later date, have a good morning, afternoon, evening, whichever it may be. And I shall see you on the other side. Bye.